superwoman.
Growing up, I actually lost my childhood because I had to be parents to my brothers and sisters. My parents were like, you know, crackheads, drug users, and we were like basically like forgot about children, if you want to say that. Our parents, before we got taken away from our parents abused us. They would lock us in rooms for like weeks at a time, and when we were discovered by family members who would come over and visit, we would be like covered in like feces, pee. We were actually taken away from our parents as a result of them getting high and things like that. We were placed in kinship care, and we actually moved with my father's, well, before we went with my father's sister, they placed us in foster care. And that first foster home that I ever went to, I was molested by the foster father. I think that was my first experience of being touched as a little girl when I was with him. And when they took us away from that foster family, they put us in kinship care, and then that's when I started living with my father's sister, my aunt.
This is where my aunt raised us or whatever. You got 560 Pressman Street. This is where it all happened. This is where it all began. Like, just mad, like everything, like from the molestations to drug dealing to just being a kid and just being raised in an area where you really didn't know too much of anything.
So living with her, I mean, she didn't teach us how to like wash up or anything, because she was so busy going to work. I think taking us in was like the biggest burden she could have ever did. Like, taking us in, it kept her from doing a lot of stuff, and she couldn't handle all of us. And like just keeping us there with her, a lot of stuff slipped through her fingers. And my uncle, which was her husband, had a stroke, so he really couldn't raise us the way that he wanted to, or they couldn't raise us the way that they wanted to. So it was a lot of times we would roam the streets late at night, and they would not come and look for us. We would just be outside, Pennsylvania Avenue, Pressman Street, hanging around, 5, 4, 6 years old, just hanging around, asking people for money, asking people, can we get something to eat, things like that. Go back in the house, dirty, wake up the next day, dirty, sisters and brothers peed in the bed, I had to get up, clean them, I had to fix them breakfast in the morning, I had to get them ready for school, and I'm getting molested, and no one's believing me. And we're going to school where you see kids that you know is living a total better life than you are. So one day we went to school and it was picture day. They asked, will we be taking pictures? My little sister and I. They said, okay, well, we'll take a picture. You guys will take pictures. But by then our uniform was dirty, wrinkled, smelly. Our hair wasn't done. So this lady actually came in and gave us new uniform clothes, did our hair, and me and my little sister and I had to take a picture together, because, you know, they were just doing that out of, they were going to waive the pictures for us just so we could take a picture together. And my little sister and I actually took that picture together, and they waived the price for us, and they allowed us to have these pictures. They took me from my aunt, and they placed me in a psychiatric home because they found a picture that I drew in school, and the picture just had knives and guns and blood all over the place. And he asked me, why did I do that? And he asked, did I want to kill myself at the age of 7? And I said yes. There at my first psyche home, it was school there, but it was more or less the school that they had programmed for us. Then after I left there, I went with my first foster family, and then I was enrolled into the elementary school that was around that area. And then after that, I graduated, 5th grade, I think that was. I graduated 5th grade. And then I went to middle school, and I think my highest level of academia was 7th grade, because at 7th grade, I decided to run away. I decided to say screw school, because I really wasn't even paying attention to school. Like, my whole focus was, I need to find my family. I need to be back with my family. I don't know who these people are that's in my life right now. Yeah, I was in special ed. Like, when I left that psychiatric home, they really didn't have a lot of like work for me to say where I am, like in education wise. So they gave me a test when I got to the school, and they were like, oh yeah, well, she needs to be put in special ed. I was in the 9th grade, 3rd quarter of 9th grade, and I dropped out. I wasn't even paying attention in 9th grade. It was more or less, oh, I have to come here because I'm on the box. Everybody knew I was on the box, you know. I didn't care. I did a lot of stuff out in the county that I had no business doing, smoking, drinking, things like that. But by the time I got off the box, I dropped out. And when I dropped out, I ran away. I ran away from my cousin's house. I was no longer on, you know, under parole, and I ran away. Out of everything that was going on in my life, as a human, alone, there's only so much that you can take by yourself. I became really, 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 really depressed. I became so depressed that my life wasn't even valued. I tried to commit suicide 5 times. And I was in one of these group homes. It was called the Woodburn Center, and I was at school at Dunbar Middle School at this time, because that was the school they sent me to when I was at the group home. And I ditched school that day, and I ditched school and got drunk. I just got drunk. I was like 13, I think, at that time. And 13, 14, I got drunk. And then the people I got drunk with, I was so intoxicated that they couldn't do anything with me. They just dropped me off in the back of the school. I was okay enough to walk around to the front of the school where the van would pick us up, but I was so drunk that they put me on a van, and then when they got me back to the Woodburn Center, I passed out. And they took me to the hospital, and they had to pump me out with coal. Like, they had to pump my stomach out with coal. And that was a near-death experience, because the security guard said that he watched the flat line go like this for 15 seconds. And the guy next to me died. And then my flat line started going back up and down again. So when I had woke up and I was actually looking around, I just seen the security guard right here and said, "You're lucky." After being on runaway for a long time, I decided to turn myself back into the system. It was probably around like 3 months before I was about to turn 18. And being in the foster kid system, at the age of 18, you're allowed to emancipate yourself. Like, you're your own independent at that time. No more restrictions because of social workers. And I turned myself back in, and they placed me in this foster home. And at this foster home, I started doing everything at this foster home, selling drugs, everything. I ended up getting locked up out there in Virginia, 18 years old, another charge on my record. I got locked up with a Glock 9 in my purse. Yep. And I served my time out there. When it was time for me to go to court, they gave me time served, and they let me go. Because I was in a lot of group homes, being locked up was nothing but another group home to me. It really didn't seem any different to me. It just felt like a bigger group home with a lot of other women, grown women who got charges, who've been charged with different crimes. And while I was in jail, I can say the most amazing thing that happened to me was that I actually was hearing from a voice that was inside of me. It was a voice that was talking to me while I was in jail. It was telling me to open up the Bible. This one lady knew how old I was, and she came to me and she started crying. She said, "I don't want you to tear your life up like I tore my life up. When you get out of here, I just pray that God will just lead you the right way." She just started praying and crying, praying and crying. And I'm just sitting there while these other ladies standing around us. And I'm just like, I won't. I'll do better. I'll do good.